Taking questions today. I'm very sorry.
Governor, it's been a week since you vetoed a bill. What do you want? Why won't you take any questions? It's been 4 weeks, Governor, since you've had a gaggle. Why are you avoiding the public? Why are you avoiding the press, Governor? It's been 4 weeks, Governor. Oh, that's the sound of a suburban door. Thank you.
Hey guys, I have an election update, and you're going to want to share the hell out of this one. You know those Dominion voting systems that had that glitch in Michigan and switched 6,000 Trump votes to Biden? Well, they have completed data analysis on them, and they have found that 2.7 million Trump votes were deleted nationwide. That's 2.7 million Trump votes deleted nationwide. 221,000 Pennsylvania Trump votes were switched to Biden. That's 221,000 Trump votes switched over to Biden. 941,000 Pennsylvania Trump votes were deleted out of the system. And 435,000 votes nationwide were switched from Trump to Biden. So folks, have faith. Just give it some time. We all knew this was going to be a Trump landslide, and it didn't add up. So let's just be patient and see how it goes, and share this one. It's being deleted off of Facebook. It's affecting YouTube.
I feel very confident that Joe Biden will be elected president on Tuesday, whatever the end count is.
You can't always tell everything that's going on right up front, because if you tell everything that's going on right up front, then your enemy is going to know exactly what you're doing.
I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
So yeah, we have a bigger issue than just Democrats. We have an issue of the American indoctrinated people that just let things like this go. It's been happening for years and years and years, and frankly, I'm sick of it. And so I'm just telling you, they're telling you, and they've been telling you this stuff in front of your face for a really long time.
Our own government working against us. I mean, we've always had the government working against us. We just didn't know it. Good afternoon, everybody. This is April of June, and I just want to make sure for those people who don't understand a joke, that Dominion clip at the very beginning was not a real, that wasn't a real ad for Dominion. It was talking about theft and all that stuff. And I got some clips for you today. Let me tell you, some of this stuff is going to be a refresher for some of you guys, because you've been around for so long that you already know some of this stuff, but it's refreshing to see that it's finally coming out in the mainstream now. Linda Dubois, how are you today? We've got Jamie also, Richard Reeves, Gloria B, Florida Chili here, she says. Let's see, who is it? Nice Industrial Tech. Nice. Kim, how much love to everyone. Thank you so much. And then we got Shauna Vision over there on Twitch. You must really like Twitch. He's been on Twitch like almost the whole time. Once in a while, he switches over to, what is it? YouTube. Bats, rabbits. Good morning, blasphemers. How dare we talk about the election? Yeah, we're still on that election from 2020, that stolen thing. And what's it been, like 5 years now? For sure. Yeah. So that's definitely ridiculous. Katie Hobbs is a caged animal. Oh yeah, for sure. 2.7 million Trump votes. I know. Can you believe it? And that's just, I don't even think that's the tip of the iceberg, really. John is over there on Rumble. Nice to see you there. And is rope a bad word now? I don't know. Why did you get sent over that? Yeah, it was a meme for sure. We're watching April's review class. Yeah, for sure. Mr. Something, Mr. Philpott. Oh, I'm going to tell it. You better believe it. I got some videos here that are kind of old, but then I got some new ones, and I'm going to play this new one real quick for you because I couldn't believe what Jasmine Crockett was saying. So I want to show that one to you first before we go into these other ones, because that is so ridiculous of what she's saying. Here it is. Listen to this. This is so ridiculous.
That one of his friends has purchased Dominion. So it's going to be really important for us to educate all states that we can to make sure that their Secretary of States are like, we don't want the Dominion machines, because I personally believe that ally purchased Dominion so that he could potentially play with the machines, because we know that they're trying to cheat by changing the lines.
Do we know that?
For the midterms. And I think that they're trying to solidify their cheat potentially with the voting machines.
She's telling you everything they did. Every single thing. She's telling you exactly what they did with those machines, which is what we've been saying for a long time. And if you don't know who Mike Lindell is, he's the MyPillow guy. Okay. YouTube took all of his advertising down, and so did Facebook, and I believe X. I think he's still on X, though, not for his advertising, but he's got accounts there. And so they got rid of all that stuff that had to do with MyPillow. He was taken out of stores, all that kind of stuff, because how dare he question the voting machines? And because he's got so much money, he really doesn't care anymore. And so he's done an in-depth investigation and hired all kinds of people to really analyze this voter fraud issue, because it is so huge and it was so blatant and obvious. This is Sidney Powell. And remember, Sidney Powell, she was exposing the voter fraud too, and they disbarred her and Rudy Giuliani as well, disbarred both of them for questioning the 2020 election and bringing lawsuits. It's like, well, you can't disbar people for that. Not that I think you should be a bar attorney. I absolutely don't think that. But here's Sidney Powell.
When Smartmatic was designed in a way that and I'm going to just read you some of these statements, if you don't mind, so I get them exactly right from the affidavit. Designed in a way that the system could change the vote of each voter without being detected. He wanted the software itself to function in such a manner that if the voter were to place their thumbprint or fingerprint on a scanner, then the thumbprint would be tied to a record of the voter's name and identity as having voted, but that voter would not be tracked to the changed vote. He made it clear that the system would have to be set up but not leave any evidence of the changed vote for a specific voter, and that there would be no evidence to show and nothing to contradict that the name or the fingerprint or thumbprint was going with a changed vote. Smartmatic agreed to create such a system and produce the software and hardware that accomplished the result for President Chavez.
Now, she's talking about the reason that Dominion and Smartmatic and these other software programs were developed was to manipulate the voting system in other countries. Okay, remember, Venezuela was one of them. And so she's talking about what it was originally developed for, and that Smartmatic and Dominion both are using that software, and that is true. So I find it interesting that now a Republican has control of Dominion, and I wonder what's going to happen to it now.
After the Smartmatic electoral management system was put in place, he closely observed several elections where the results were manipulated using the Smartmatic software. One such election was December 2006, when Chavez was running against Rosales. Chavez won with a landslide over Rosales, a margin of nearly 6 million votes for Chavez versus 3.7 million for Rosales. In 2013, he witnessed another Venezuelan national election where the Smartmatic management system was used to manipulate and change the results for Chavez. Control room where multiple digital display screens were shown for results and voting. The actual vote.
Now she's talking to Lou Dobbs. And if you remember, Lou Dobbs also was questioning the election. And because it was such a huge issue between that and the Biden debacle and all this kind of thing, and Tucker Carlson, all that, they took Lou Dobbs off the air also.
Voting results were fed into that room and onto the displays over an internet feed, which was connected to a sophisticated computer system created by Smartmatic. People in that room were able to see in real time whether the vote that came through the electronic voting system was in their favor or against them. If one looked at any particular screen, they could determine that the vote from any specific area or as a national total was going to be against either candidate. Persons controlling the vote tabulation computer had the ability to change the reporting of votes by moving votes from one candidate to another by using the Smartmatic software.
And that is how they've done it this whole entire time. And they did it during the Biden. If you watched the Biden switch, it was, you could literally see in real time on CNN, and I got a whole bunch of videos on that, them switching the votes. Okay, so Biden's votes would go up by the same exact amount that Trump's votes would go down. And that was literally right in front of your eyes, blink of an eye. But there were people who were filming the whole entire thing because they already knew that it was going to happen. So they filmed it on purpose to prove it. And Sidney Powell has the receipts.
Watch the voting real time. They run a computer algorithm on it as needed to either flip votes, take votes out, or alter the votes to make a candidate win.
So that's different. Now this is even different. I just really want to be very, very careful here and be very meticulous about this. It's one thing to be able to watch it and decide how much more input you need to change the number. But now you're saying there's an actual way to change the total, the vote tallies within the system?
Of course.
That's exactly right.
That's a...
You know, it just floors me that people don't know how electronics work or how internet things work, programs work. I mean, it just floors me that they're like, I can't believe what I'm hearing. I can believe it. I mean, if they can hack your computer from remotely, if they can hack your phone remotely, I mean, is my phone physically connected to anything? No, it's not. But they can hack it. So if they can hack it, why can't they hack the voting machines? They pretend as if there's no way that they can do that, but yet each one of them has a chip inside. My phone has a chip inside. Okay, those chips are made directly in China. The chip is in the voting system. It's in there. Why wouldn't it be emitting a signal? And besides that, yes, absolutely, they did. They got busted red-handed. And that's how come we were censored so much. This is one of the reasons why I got my channel back, because they already knew that I am bringing the receipts to you. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not even technology savvy, and I know everything can be hacked. Of course. Hey, Brian, how are you today? This is just amazing to me that people are this stupid. Look at this. Now, this is, I'm pretty sure this is Michigan.
Where it needs to closely examine their results for similar discrepancies. The people of Michigan deserve a transparent and open process.
Do they? Yes, they actually do. So it's like, what? They're switching the votes. Look at this. This is like a person who is dead voting. John Walt died in 2019, but according to TexasBallot.org, look. You know, Jesus rose from the dead, but apparently so do the people who vote. I'm just saying, you know, that's where they recruit, in the graveyard. Listen to this guy.
Barr's been doing. I'll read that again. In order to get access to that server and have it.
Let's back this up a minute.
Gentlemen, I think we got enough people watching. It's breaking news, so make sure you get this out. Ready? Here we go. I got it right here. Got it right here. Ready? The U.S. government determined that Dominion server, all the Dominion servers, were involved in switching votes. Then the intelligence community began a search for the server and discovered that the server was placed in Germany. Okay? That's very, very key.
Server in Germany.
Ladies and gentlemen, the servers for Dominion were based in Germany. This ties into why President Trump fired Esper the other day. Everybody was wondering, well, what does Esper have anything to do with anything? He doesn't have anything to do with the elections. He doesn't have anything to do with internal, election fraud and stuff like that. Well, the reason why Esper was fired was because they needed to put that operation put together, and they needed the right people involved and the wrong people not involved. Okay? So the Dominion server was discovered that the servers were in Germany. In order to get access to the server and have it available for use in a legal manner, they had to have the State Department work in tandem with the Department of Justice. You guys wondering where Bill Barr is? This is what Bill Barr's been doing. I'll read that again. In order to get access to that server and have it available for use in a legal manner, they had to have the State Department work in tandem with the Department of Justice. They had to request that the government of Germany cooperate in allowing this seizure of this server.
Now, can you believe that? Okay, so here's you voting in the United States of America. Here are other countries that have an interest in putting one candidate in or another, and the servers are in Germany. And in order to get access to the servers, you have to petition the government, their government, not our government. Should our votes be going overseas? I don't think so. Did none of these people watch court cases back during Trump's first term, I mean Biden's first term? Like you said, just glad many are waking up finally. This doesn't make any sense to me how no one can, I mean, like a vast majority, even Republicans don't
this
know.
Kind of seizure were put in place, signed off on, and it appears that there was also a U.S. military support in the operation. The U.S. military was not in the lead of this operation. But this helps explain why Esper was fired and Miller and Kash Patel were put in his place, so that the military would not interfere with the operation in any way. Esper was in a position to where he could have had the military interfere with this because it was international. It had things to do with terrorism and counterterrorism. He had influence over the U.S. military and foreign affairs and foreign operations, and Esper would have been directly involved in making sure this didn't happen. That's why Esper was fired. All right, so again, they said Miller and Kash Patel were put in his place so that the military would not interfere with the operation in any way. By getting a hold of the server, Team Trump is now going to have the direct evidence of when the instruction to stop counting happened. They will also discover who gave the direction to stop the counting and who initiated the algorithm that started switching votes. And then it ends off saying this: the CIA was completely excluded from this operation. I'm going to put this in the comment thread below. Okay, so you guys want to know where Barr's been, where's Trump been? And when Trump said yesterday at his Rose Garden thing, when he's like, this administration will never, ever, ever do a lockdown. We'll see what administration is there. And he kind of smirked. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is going right here. When I told you this was going to come down to Dominion, this is not going to come down to votes and states' votes, because this right here, now that they're in the U.S. Army is in direct possession, okay, of the servers, the physical servers and everything. Like I said, like in this last paragraph, Team Trump now is going to have the direct evidence of when the instruction to stop counting happened. They will also discover who gave the direction to stop counting and who initiated the algorithm that started switching votes, and the CIA was completely excluded from this operation. It makes sense, doesn't it? That President Trump has been literally cleaning house at the CIA, the Pentagon, the DHS, the DOD. So, ladies and gentlemen, what this means for you and I is that all these votes You wonder why President Trump's legal team pulled out of their lawsuit in Arizona? Don't believe the fake news. It had nothing to do with the fact that they didn't have any evidence. Had nothing to do with that. They're going to focus their teams where they think their teams are going to be most effective for you, the American people. That is why they pulled out of Arizona. They don't need the votes, ladies and gentlemen. They don't need the votes in Georgia. They don't need the votes in Virginia. They don't need the votes in Pennsylvania. They don't need the votes in Wisconsin. They don't need the votes in Michigan. That is going to still continue because there's already lawsuits filed, and what they're going to do is that's going to be the icing on the cake, ladies and gentlemen, because that's going to verify and validate all the votes that President Trump actually did get and all the votes that pedophile-elect didn't get. So that's going to only further prove that that nobody wanted him to be president. But those aren't going to matter in the end, ladies and gentlemen, because now that they have the server, the Dominion servers from Germany, they're just going to present those to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is going to issue that the entire election was invalid, that the entire election cannot be counted in any way, shape, or form, and they're going to push it down to Congress. President Trump is your president for 4 more years, like we've been saying. I've been telling you that Dominion was going to be the thing that took him down. Well, that's going to be the thing that takes him down.
See, they think that they can run, and they think, well, just because he wasn't there for the last 4 years of Biden, that somehow that's a win for them. But actually, it wasn't a win for them at all. It was way better for President Trump to let the Democrats expose who they really are for 4 years, even though it wasn't fun. Nobody liked it. The majority of the people didn't like it. But how much did you learn about the corruption, the deep, deep corruption that is through every single system of the entire United States? I don't think during Trump's first presidency, I think that was more like information gathering. Then there was a reprieve of 4 years where he wasn't there, and he just watched them run around like delusional kids in a candy store, because they're like, oh, we have it all. Oh, excuse me. No, we're just watching you commit crimes. And then after you get done committing all these crimes, then we're going to come after you for the crimes that you've committed. So now it's 4 years of being able to analyze all that data, all of those documents that they got from Trump being president the first time. So I do think it might have been somewhat planned and organized, because, I mean, seriously, they could have fixed the voting system thing when Trump was in the first time. They could have done that, but they didn't. And I think the reason that they didn't is because they wanted the Democrats to be overcompetent and do exactly what they've done. Because remember, in the Q posts, and some of you are like, oh, not that. But yeah, in the Q posts, it said some people won't believe it unless they can experience it themselves. They have to see it before their very eyes before they see. People won't believe until they see with their own eyes. Yeah. Anyone with brain cells had to be scratching their head with all of the bumbling Biden mishaps. I mean, it was so obvious. So when the news media and all these politicians came out, like Nancy Pelosi and all that, he's as sharp as a tack. And Joe Scarborough coming out and acting like, I am the holier than thou. And if you don't believe me, then you can just get lost. I don't care what you have to say. He is more cogent. That's the word he used. Cogent than I have ever seen him. Are you kidding me? Joe Scarborough is supposed to be a Republican, you know, which he's not. I don't know what he is, except for, I don't know, a lying piece of crap. He might as well just be, a Democrat at this point. Okay, now here's James O'Keefe exposing voter fraud. Now, this is circulating again. All the things that we already had before are now recirculating because they're coming to fruition. We learned a long time ago, preserve the evidence, because these guys will try to delete it. And we preserved it this whole entire time, knowing that it's going to come out at some time. So even though this is James O'Keefe back when they were exposing all this stuff from Ilhan Omar. I believe this is Ilhan Omar's district that he's in during this clip. So watch.
Raquel Rodriguez, how are you doing? This is James O'Keefe with Project Veritas. We have you on tape admitting to coercing voters and bribing voters with gifts. This is you on video telling someone who to vote for, which is a violation of federal law and state law.
Now, you know, on here, you chose a Republican, not a Democrat, right? Can I do that? You can vote for whoever you want, but our conversation that we had, you said you were voting for a hater because you were going straight Democrat. So that way you're voting for the straight Dem. Is that what you want to do, correct? And she's like, well, yeah, you know what, you're right.
And then she changed, she was clearly voting for John Cornyn.
Do you think it's okay to change people's votes for them like you did with Ms. Do you think that's acceptable?
I refuse to talk to you right now.
You're on tape doing it. Do you not see that? Look at this.
This is what they asked me to say, so no.
Okay, but you actually did that. We're going to leave with you if you're going to leave. Because you bragged.
I don't want to talk.
You bragged that you and your partner go into polling booths with voters and sign an affidavit that you can enforce. Do you think that's legal?
That's a lie. You're lying. I want the biggest candidate. Everybody's mad.
Which one's that?
Model. I got the millionaire. A millionaire that's like, go do whatever you need to do. Here's all my credit cards. I don't take advantage of them. I tell everybody, I don't work for man.
Yeah, see? That was in Ilhan Omar's district. Because I remember there was so much voter fraud in her district. So they were going around supposedly vetting people's votes. But well, first of all, how come they're looking at people's ballots? That's what I want to know. Why are they doing that? And then they're taking the vote. Oh, you didn't vote straight Democrat ticket. You sure you don't want to change that right now? Do you think that the person in the House already knows that their strong arms are coming after them? Of course they do. They have already seen what happens to all their neighbors. So this is a problem all the way around, you know? So to sit there and pretend as if it's not happening when it's absolutely happening, especially after James O'Keefe exposed it all. They have an undercover video of the whole entire thing. Let's look at the next one. This is Stephen Miller talking about the illegals and why they want the illegals here.
Want illegal aliens to vote. It's why
Might have to turn up your volume.
Administration gave millions, we verified this now, millions with an M, of illegal aliens social security numbers. And once you have a social security number, it is incredibly easy to vote, to collect welfare, to get free government benefits, to participate in every aspect of American life. This isn't a mystery. They want illegals to steal elections, Sean.
That's exactly right. Why else would they want them? They've given over, I want to say it's like something like 4 million Social Security numbers out. It might even be more than that, to these illegals, because as soon as they give them a driver's license, they give them a Social Security card, then they get to sign up for voting. Because who questions them? Nobody questions them. Nobody says, oh, are you sure are you a legal citizen? Yeah. Let me see this. The buses, they bust in buses of illegals to vote in the elections in California. They do it everywhere. In Durango, Colorado, I was telling the Republican Party, hey, these people, and this is just, Durango isn't like a huge town, all right? But the Democrats were busing in people to go to the voting polls. I said, how come we're not offering to drive people to the polls? Now, in Colorado, it's all mail-in voting, but there is on election day, if you don't get a ballot, okay, you can go to the county clerk and recorder's office and vote there and cast a vote there if you want to in person, which I find very interesting because who's checking them at the door? I don't know. This is it's just ripe for voter fraud all the way around. But I do think we should be getting rid of all the machines. That thing in the very beginning when the reporters were chasing and saying, Governor, you know, you haven't done anything in a long, long time. Okay. That was Katie Hobbs, because Katie Hobbs is now under investigation for voter fraud in several elections, not just the one she was in. But if you remember, Katie Hobbs stole the election from, what's her name? I had the Katie Holmes, not Katie Holmes. You know who I mean. She's the reporter with the short brown hair. You'll tell me in a minute. Anyway, stole the election from her. Carrie Lake. Yes, Carrie Lake. That's right. I knew you guys would tell me in a minute. Carrie Lake. And during that time period, Katie Hobbs was actually the Secretary of State over the elections. She would not recuse herself. She was over the election. To me, that whole thing should have been thrown out in the very beginning. And Carrie Lake sued her and sued that entire situation and all the entities in between. Lost that because the courts are totally corrupt. And I think the rightful governor would have been Carrie Lake for sure. Absolutely. But that's how they roll. They roll in fraud. Look at this. This is in Georgia.
I hope late in the game of flipping in this election, but we shall see. Is Georgia, and that state's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger is with us now. Mr. Secretary, good morning on a busy morning.
Morning.
I guess the big question is, Hoda.
Yeah, we want to know, when are we going to get your votes? When are we going to find out who's won your state?
All eyes on Georgia.
Well, we have about 2% left to go. We had great success yesterday. We had 4.7 million voters that voted. Record breaker for us, beats the 4.1 in 2016. We also had average wait time of only 2 minutes, statewide average. We have about 2% left to go. And you can see where we are right now with the results that have been reported. I don't think it'll change any outcomes, but that's what really people that make those predictions do. What we'll do is get...
Well, that was interesting, though. We were just getting to the good part there, because the Secretary of State said they got 2% left to count, Chuck. But he did not think it would change the outcome.
That's interesting.
But then he deferred to the prognosticators, which I think is over to you.
Look, I can just tell you what our models say and where those counties
Check
are.
that.
They are heavily Democratic counties. And it's the Atlanta number. So it is going to shrink, perhaps, if I were an arbiter of an election result, I wouldn't want to be the one saying, yes, and when we count the vote, it'll change the result. I think his job is to be the umpire.
Well, let's ask Mr. Secretary. Can you hear me now? You just were saying something.
I'm getting phone bombed or something.
Oh, okay. Well, fair. You're a busy guy. You're probably all your friends wanting to know the same thing we want to know, which is, when is Georgia going to report its results? But you said something interesting, sir. You said 2% left to count. You didn't think, however, that it would be changing the outcome. Right. Is that based on your analysis of where those votes are outstanding, or are you just guessing it because
I can't even believe that she's asking. I can't believe she's asking this question. And here's why I can't believe it. When less than 2% of the vote comes in, they're already calling a state. And here is less than 2% of the vote supposed to be counted. Trump is pretty far ahead. 50.5% over 48.3%, which I do not believe that 48.3% of anyone voted for Biden in this particular election. And she's saying, well, how do you know it's not going to change? Well, it certainly will if things are trucked in at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's only 2%.
We don't guess. What we do is report. We just see where the candidates are right now in both presidential, congressional, senatorial. And you look at how many votes are out there. Even if one of the candidates got 100%, it probably wouldn't be enough to move it one way or the other.
Gotcha.
But it is what it is. We'll just wait till everything's done. The county's working diligently to get that done today.
Isn't that amazing? So here that he said, even if it was 100%, even if it was 100% of the remaining votes for one candidate, it's still not enough to win. And then it was like, pull in the trucks, boys, and lift up the skirts of the tables, boys. We got votes under there that are already pre-done for Biden. And we already know that because we saw him do it. It was on all the video cameras. So, and that's why I find it very interesting that the corruption of the court is so corrupt that here's the video evidence in front of their faces where that you can see them in these back rooms where they're supposedly counting the votes, opening up tubs, pulling tubs of ballots from underneath the tables, opening them up and shoving them through the machines over and over and over again. Yeah, and the trucks at 2 a.m. in the morning. Nothing to see here, folks. We all went to bed going, yeah, okay, Trump won. Because it was so obvious. We did not know that they were going to literally bring rented trucks filled with ballots, 100% ballots for Joe Biden. That is so evil. So we don't have words in the English language to describe that amount of depravity, that you are such a cheating, lying party. I mean, look at, I'm to the point where I'm so fed up that even on social media, okay, so I'll see Democrats coming across my feed, which I don't even know why they are, because I can't hardly stand listening to anything that they have to say. Anything that they say whatsoever means actually nothing to me because it's already a lie. So they start out with, maybe let's say they have 5 sentences in their post that they're going to say. Each one, lie, 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 lie. And it's not just that it's a lie. It's a provable lie. It's got a paper trail on the lie. It's got video that proves that whatever it is that that Democrat is saying is absolutely opposite of the truth. Like Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett also said, in case you didn't know, that that the shooter on President Trump was MAGA. That's how ridiculous they are. It's like, Jasmine Crockett, let's fact check you sentence by sentence, because I'm not sure if you're really this stupid or this dedicated to lying that you just are a programmed bot of lies. But what's the point of them even speaking? It's like, you know what? How about this? I don't even need to interview you anymore because I don't see the point. I don't need to interview you. I don't need to even hear any words coming out of your mouth, because the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to stick in a lie, whatever it is, whatever question I ask you, it's going to be a lie. And if I said to Jasmine Crockett, and she's wearing a blue outfit, and I said, you're wearing a blue outfit, she'd have to say, no, I'm not. I'm wearing a purple outfit. You don't know what you're talking about. I put on a purple outfit today. You're just crazy. And everyone in the room can see she's wearing a blue outfit. This is what I don't understand. How can you continually feel good about what you're doing in your job if that's the only thing you ever do is lie? Nancy Pelosi, total liar. Adam Schiff, are you kidding me? Chuck Schumer, AOC. It just doesn't make any sense to me how you can feel good about the job that you're doing and pretending that you are a good person or representing anyone other than yourself. She's that greedy. She doesn't want the money to stop hitting her bank account. I know. You know, I have a group of people, just speaking of that. So there's a group of people that I really wanted some information from, because I know that they have the information that the people need to be able to discharge their debts or do the 1099 A's, B's, all that stuff. Some of you guys will understand what I'm saying. Some of you won't. And if you don't, it's a whole thing. And I'm not going to go into it right now because that's not even the point of what I'm saying. So they have this information that's really, really valuable to people. It's something that people really, really want to know. And I believe that you should be teaching people how to fish, not fishing for them. But this group of people They're not even in the United States. They're in the UK. This group of people wants to hold on and grasp that information so tightly that they're charging an arm and a leg in different increments, because they'll tell you, okay, it's mandatory for you to do $2,500 or something like that. Then for the information you really want to know, it's an extra $2,500 or something like that. And then a $1,500 on top of that. And then it's just on and on and on with thousands and thousands of dollars, so that by the time you get done with the process of going through their $1,000 stuff, you are no wiser than you were before, because they've done it all for you. And their goal is to file paperwork for you and take a residual off the top every single time you're reimbursed with stuff. To me, that's super greedy. Holding on to information that could help every single person in their court cases, in their mortgage fraud stuff. And because there's tons of people who are accused of things that they didn't even do. I got clients they got traffic tickets, and the tyrannical street thugs are out there bothering them all the time. I've got people who are on the verge of losing their homes from fraudulent mortgages because banks are pretending they're loaning you something when they're not. So instead of giving the people the information so that they can continually help themselves, okay, they want to hoard the information. That's the same thing that happens all through the government. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to know, because all they want you to do is churn on that wheel and keep making the money for them. That's all they want. My mom used to get checks from the Native American, and she told me they told her she had to vote Democrat. Yeah. I got her to vote for Trump. I said, they can't tell you how to vote. They can't tell you how to vote. I'm having a little trouble with my eyes today. So if I'm reading kind of weird, that's why. Because I feel like I'm like, stop, start. Well, Star, I hope you have a good appointment today. She's going to her doctor over there pretty soon. So my point is, holding back information doesn't help anyone. Brian Tracy said something years ago when I was like, I want to say 28, something like that. I was listening to Brian Tracy on one of his lectures. He's a motivational speaker, in case you don't know. And he said, you can give people 100% of what you know, and only 3% will do what you say. Now, in my experience, it was 3%, but now I think it's more like 1%. And because that is the way that it goes, there's no reason to hold back any information. Because most people will say, it's too hard, I can't do it, can you do it for me? Well, I try to facilitate people to do stuff for themselves. But I can always tell when someone is an indoctrinated person, they don't know how to make decisions for themselves, they absolutely have no reasoning skills whatsoever. And that's when they ask a question about every little thing. Okay, so for example, I have this pink cup, and they'll say, well, do you think I should take the lid off the cup before putting the water in? Or do you think that I should just lift that little thing right there and put the water in that way? Why are you asking me that question is what I want to know. Because it seems to me like you could try it yourself and see which one is best for you. Do you think that I should put this on the desk, or do you think that I should put it somewhere else? I'm like, well, how do I know? How do I know? You know, so you end up making these decisions for people because they are incapable of making decisions for themselves. I had to tell a guy the other day, hey, you know, I don't mind you asking questions, but you're going to have to try to get some of these answers for yourself. You guys need to learn how to do research. You need to be able to follow the trail. And yeah, some of these things can go way deep down into trails that you're like, oh my gosh, is it never going to end? No, it's not going to end. And it's designed that way. It's designed that way because they don't want you to know. They want you to get tired of doing the research. Who was it? It was Brian Stelter on CNN. He said, it becomes a very dangerous world when people are left to find out things for themselves. And I thought, it might be a dangerous world for you. Okay. Because if people did do the research themselves, they would find out that you are a crackpot and you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, exactly. Step away from your computer. You don't know what you're doing. I choose not to have a pink cup at work. The other text would make fun of me. Well, that's true. That could probably happen over there. But yeah, the voter fraud thing is now coming to the forefront. Right now, they're super stuck on the Epstein files. They're super stuck on that right now. That is like the big news. That how dare you leave the Epstein files where we can't get to them? And you know what? The Epstein files are so corrupted from when they first got them to now. I don't trust any of them now. What would be the point? It's been through the Biden administration. It's been through Obama. It's been through all of these different administrations because they had the documents way before Trump got in there. So if they didn't bring it out then, what would make you think that it's not tainted now? Especially when it went through the Biden era. We're finding out documents that prove that Obama was involved in the Russian dossier. In my court case, the district attorney was in a big panic. One of the nowhere, he wanted to know where I was getting my information from. Internet, YouTube. Well, how about the statutes? How about we open up the statutes? Take a look at those. Yeah, see, they don't like you knowing anything. Cops will say stuff to you. What are you, a roadside attorney? Well, I have to be. You know why I have to be? Because of people like you. You're a tyrannical person in a uniform with weaponry, putting me in handcuffs for no reason whatsoever and telling me it's officer safety when you're the one who's got all kinds of weaponry on. So if you're going to ask me about my weaponry, I'm going to ask you about yours. You're going to ask me what kind of weapons I have. Okay, well, I'm asking you what kind of weapons you have because I can see from right now. Not only do you have an accessible gun, you have an accessible taser, and you can use that nightstick there, your flashlight, as a weapon. You got handcuffs to restrain me. That's suspicious. And you got a little walkie-talkie right there. So you can call backup for more goons to come over and attack me some more. Yeah, I think I'm the one that's in danger here, not you. And besides that, you're the one who stopped me for nothing. Yeah, I have a problem with that stuff. By the way, Ralph, I was telling them earlier. Oh, no, I wasn't telling them earlier. I hadn't even gotten to it. So for those of you who understand what I'm saying, I have a court case liquidation class that is coming up on Saturday. And this is not taught by me. It's taught by another person who has been doing the 1099 AB liquidation IRS forms since 2018. And he's going to show us how to liquidate all of those cases, the mortgages, the foreclosures. If you've got any kind of criminal case, traffic ticket, whatever, he's going to show us how to use the IRS to go out there and do the dirty work for you. And he's been doing it since 2018. And the way that he's been doing it has been working every single time. So that class, now normally he charges $1,000 for this class, but because I have so many people that I send out emails to and can attend the class, he's giving us a discount. So we're going to be able to get this class for $500. If you want to be able to attend that class, all you have to do is at the bottom of this video right here, and this is going to be on November 15th, 2025 at 4:00 p.m. Okay, so put down at the bottom just put down court case class, put class, court case class, and I will be able to see that. And then I want you to email me. Okay, I'm going to put in the comments my email, april@aprilajune.com. All right. What does liquidation do for our court case? Well, it sticks the IRS on them and it will dissolve it. It gets rid of, and he even told me that it's for everything. Anything that has a QSIP on it. So it's a credit card, it's a car loan, anything like that. And so you're going to be able to ask this guy some questions. And he is very smart. I talked to him. He's very good. I want to be in the court class. Yeah. I think you guys should absolutely email me. Let me see if I can put a banner up here with my email on it. And that way you guys can see. Oh, that's Malibu Dallas's email. Oh, no, that's his website at aprilajune.com. I'll put this up on the screen for you. So that way you can see at the end of this video, april@aprilajune.com. Aprilajune.com is my actual website. On that website, I have books. I've written 6 books now, so you can get one of those books if you want. The foreclosure war is about, and you don't have to be a secured party for that. And you don't have to be a secured party for the class either. I already asked him that question because I have so many people who are not secured parties, but they have foreclosure issues. They have traffic issues. They have, hefty court cases on the line. There's all kinds of things that these people have. Credit cards coming after them, all kinds of stuff. So, he is going to be able to do that. Anything with a QSIP number. Yes. You have to get the QSIP number on these things in order to do the liquidation. Anything with a QSIP number on its serious business that goes to a long list of different things. Oh yeah. Hoping class will be offered again in the future as I cannot attend on the 15th. But I don't know whether I'm going to offer it in the future. It just depends. I don't do classes as much as I used to. The reason I don't is because it takes so much time and energy out of my schedule, and I barely have any now. I'm helping people with all kinds of foreclosure issues and court cases and stuff, because these people are ruthless, and they try to put you in a headlock. And when they do that, it just makes it very difficult for people to even think about what is the next step in a court case. You may have to sue them. Half of these states are administrative processes. So they're doing an administrative process on you. You don't even know it. You don't even know it because it doesn't say notice of fault, notice of default, and administrative judgment. Those are the 3 basic things. It doesn't tell you that. They send you 1 notice, then they send you 2 notice, then they send you 3 notice. And next thing you know, you got a sale paper on the door. They've already scheduled the sale paper. They didn't sue you. You have to sue them. And you need to look at everybody needs to look at their mortgages. Pull out that paper. They didn't sign it. Look at the very beginning of your mortgage. It's going to say, that they loaned you something in exchange for you paying them back a little at a time. But did you give it a check? No, you didn't get a check. Did it go through your bank account? No, it didn't go through your bank. They didn't loan you anything. If they gave you a check, because one guy said, well, they gave me a check, and I said, take the check, and I took it over to the car dealership. I said, was your name on the check? He said, no. I said, then all you were was the courier. They didn't loan you anything because banks don't loan money. So I'm helping people every single day with this stuff. Every single day. The foreclosure war is on my website. Like I said, it's right there, aprilajune.com. That's my email, april@aprilajune.com. Every single day, I have people asking me about this stuff. And we can push them. We can. But this guy on the weekend, on the 15th, is going to help you get rid of it. And we will keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing until we know the whole issue is taken care of. I'm going to make sure, to the best of my ability, that I try to keep every single person in our house, because this stuff is fraud. You should be able to keep the things that you purchased. If you bought a car, you should be able to keep it. You shouldn't be renting it from the state. You should be able to keep your property. If they're not going to put a new roof on it, it should be yours. If they're not going to put tires on your car, it should be yours. This is really, really important, people. And I can't even express how much important. I got one guy who says to me, I'm not going to do anything with you because you just blew me off. I'm like, well, you know, if you're asking like 5,000 questions and I have to stop my work every 5 minutes to answer something dumb, pretty soon I'm going to say, you know what? You could Google that yourself. You really could. You use Google, you'll look. Okay. So sometimes I get short with people because I'm like, you need to facilitate yourself. I have held your hand this far. Now it's time for you to do something for yourself. But I do realize, like, there's truck drivers out there. They can't do it all the time. They're driving. Okay. There's people who are in positions that they can't continually do all this paperwork, and they're doing this bombardment of stuff on you on purpose. That's why I think this class is going to give you that stuff that you've been looking for so long. And you can ask him all the questions you want. So if you want to sign up with that class, like I said, email me right here at april@aprilandjune.com. I'll get you in there. Please say class at the end of the video. And I'm going to be looking in those comments, and I'm going to hit the reply, and I'm going to reply to you so that you know how to get into the class. All right, guys, make sure you pass around the link. It really helps with this video. Make sure you make a comment down below. So when you make a comment, that helps the video. It boosts it. So please, by all means, pass this around, tell your friends, and make sure that we are able to connect every day, Monday through Friday, at minimum 2 to 3 p.m. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.